Now on GMA with actor Johnathon Schaech. He's starring as a small-town sheriff in the series Blue Ridge. Can't wait to chat about that, but first, let's take a look at a clip.
Letting them go, it shows them that you're being reasonable.
He's just trying to talk you out of letting everybody leave. Do not listen to him.
That's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to convince you. But don't do it because it's my best interest. Do it because it's yours.
Very intense. Johnathon, welcome to GMA. It's great to have you.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Looking forward to the season coming up here. What can we expect from your character facing quite a few things week after week, right?
Well, I'm the sheriff in a small town. I'm constantly trying to win my wife back. And there's something that happens in this town, and I got to figure out what happened.
And your father was part of the inspiration here because he was a police officer in Baltimore for decades, right? He actually had a scene in the show, is that right?
Yes. So I got to be a cop, and my father was a Baltimore City police officer for 36 years. So there was a small role in the finale, and I read it, and it was for a man that looks just like my father, an elderly man. And I asked my showrunner, and he was like, "That's a great idea." And so I asked my dad, and he said yes, and he came out, and he played the role.
And what does he think about you playing a cop?
He thinks I'm a good cop.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's like, I have it in my blood, you know.
Love it. So we were talking before because we can see the picture right here, the bulging biceps and everything. You were telling me you had to go through quite some serious training to like fully get into this role, right?
Yeah, I've always trained, but I didn't train to the degree where I wanted to put some muscle on because Sheriff Justin Wise is a lot of action. He takes care of business, and so I put on a lot of muscle.
I want to ask you something outside the series here. You were recently on a podcast. You talked about being sober now for 10 years. Obviously, this is something that impacts so many people. Somebody who's very close to me is actually celebrating their 10-year sober anniversary right now as well. Why did you think it was so important to come out and speak about this publicly?
Well, if people could see that how well I'm doing after being sober for 10 years and working in the program and working really hard to be sober, and good things come to those who work it.
And obviously, have you had any feedback from other people who are saying, "Hey, you know what? You sharing your story is helping me too." Yeah,
it helps. It helps people when they can see that it works.
Let me talk about your big break. We're going back a little bit to it was that movie, That Thing You Do, and I understand that you got some advice from Tom Hanks that you carried with you all throughout your career. What was that he said?
Well, he always said a lot of things, but one thing he would always say to actors is show up on time and know your lines and bring something creative. And then he would always go around going, "Equipoise." I go, "Equipoise? What's equipoise?" He was like, "Find a balance."
And you've been finding that balance ever since?
Always finding the balance.
What do we expect from, I understand there's been a renewal, another season for the show. What can we expect with that?
Yes, we're coming back for season 2. We start production here shortly, and we're all very excited to go back to Charlotte, North Carolina.
All right, Johnathon Schaech, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Really a
so
pleasure.
much.
Congratulations on the show. Season finale will premiere on INSP this Sunday.